for those who will be joining us, we will be talking about the last retrograde of 2025.
The last few retrogrades.
Oh, few retrogrades. Sorry, plural.
Might not be able to cover all of them, so I'm really just gonna focus on Mercury and really Uranus and Jupiter. We're still in a Saturn retrograde. So I'll just go ahead and talk about the four big retrograde, just like, just bullet points. Like, so right now we have Saturn retrograde, and Saturn has been retrograde since, I want to say, July or June. Hold on, let me look. Let me pull up my software. Yeah, so July. So Saturn went retrograde. Saturn retrograde started in July. And I always tell people about Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma and dharma. And why did it do that? Come on, people, let's join. Join. All right. So, okay, now my software done blanked out. Okay. Here we go. Let's try this again. Okay, never mind. Won't click on that again because it's not working. So I always say Saturn is the planet of karma and dharma, and it's like Saturn is like the daddy planet. So Saturn rules Capricorn. So when Saturn goes retrograde every year, it's almost like during a Saturn retrograde, if you've been storing up like good karma, then you can expect good things. If you've been treating people poorly and doing bad stuff to people, then you can expect that, things did not go so smooth for you in a Saturn retrograde. And then we went into a Uranus retrograde in September, around the beginning of September the 6th. And so Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, is going to be retrograde. Right now it's retrograde in Gemini. I'm not sure if it's going to change before January 27th, but it's retrograde right now in Gemini, and it's going to be retrograde until January 27th of 2026. And then we just entered and then Saturn retrograde ends. Saturn retrograde ends really soon. So on November 27th, Saturn retrograde will be ending. We have Uranus. Uranus was from September to January. And then we have Mercury retrograde. It just started on November 9th. And it ends. It's the shortest retrograde, but we have multiple Mercury retrogrades a year. Mercury is the only planet that goes retrograde more than once in a year. Why? Because Mercury is Mercury is honestly the planet that is used the most. Energy wise. Because you got to think, why is my headband is doing crazy stuff. So Mercury rules technology. Mercury rules communication. Mercury rules knowledge exchange, like knowledge and communication exchange. So written, verbal, all types of communication, technology, emails, everything that has to do with technology, Mercury rules. So that's a whole lot of energy, because on this planet we use a lot of airplanes. We use a lot of trains, we use a lot of cars, we use a lot of internet now. So everything is technology based. All of our cars, all of our planes, everything is technology based. So we use a lot at this current juncture. So it's one of those things where it has to take a break. Basically, the planet has to take a break because it's overworked. No planet works as hard. And then the other retrograde, in my opinion, that lasts a long time is Pluto. Pluto goes retrograde every year. And I tell people it's because Pluto is the planet that cleanses the earth. Pluto is the planet of life. It's a lot of babies that are born during Pluto retrogrades. And then there's a lot of deaths that happen during Pluto retrogrades. But getting back into it, so Mercury being retrograde is really short. So Mercury went retrograde November 9th, and it's going to end at the end of November on, I believe, November 29th. And then we have a Jupiter. The planet Jupiter just went retrograde in Cancer, and that happened on Tuesday, which was your birthday, April, having dead smack in the middle of Scorpio season this year. And it's going to be retrograde until March 10th. God help us. So, yeah, Jupiter rules Sagittarius.
And this is the retrograde that represents what again?
So Jupiter is the planet of abundance, luck, adventure, higher education. And it rules the 9th house. So all of these planets rule a house. You know, all of these zodiac signs associated with the planets rule a house. So Saturn is Capricorn, and it rules the 10th house. Mercury is in Sagittarius right now, but Mercury is Gemini and Virgo energy. That's 3rd house energy. Uranus is Aquarius energy. That's 11th house energy. And then Jupiter is, again, Sagittarius energy. That's 9th house energy. So what can we expect? Let's start with Mercury retrograde. Let me just pull up my notes, because I got some notes. Key talking points. So the key theme of a Mercury retrograde is always going to be communication, your beliefs, your identity, your reputation, and relationships. So again, Mercury rules communication, the thought process, technology, travel. This retrograde is always going to ask for reassessment. And it's always going to nothing, I tell people, you should not be doing any fresh launches, anything new in a Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is always going to be the 3 R's. Retreat, reflect, and then resume. That's always going to be a Mercury retrograde. I like to encourage people to take a pause on major decisions, take a pause on contracts, signing major contracts. When I say major decisions, I mean the decision to start a business, a decision to quit a job, a decision to fire somebody from a job, a decision from relationships, like getting in a relationship, ending a relationship, any major decisions, buying big purchases, like buying houses, buying cars. I tell people, listen, you are desperately in need of something, do not buy it during a Mercury retrograde, because 9 times out of 10, there's something in the contract that you may miss, and then you'll end up stuck with something that you don't really want and or need. So it's not wise to make major purchases during a Mercury retrograde, because again, contracts can be off. I've gotten caught up in a situation where contracts weren't right, and I signed it during a Mercury retrograde. Definitely watch any decisions or contracts, especially ones that are tied to how you're presenting yourself. So getting lip fillers or getting something done to your body, like a gastric bypass, having major surgeries, if it's not an emergency surgery, you got to get something done, I would not schedule anything cosmetic during a Mercury retrograde. It's just not good for your health. Or a Pluto retrograde, really, for that matter, but especially a Mercury retrograde. Something came through about reviewing any messages that you've sent out in the past 3 to 6 months. And do those messages that you sent out still reflect their truth? Do those messages, whether you sent messages on a job or you sent messages to a specific person, is it still, do the messages that you sent, previous messages, old messages that you sent, do they still reflect their truth? even now. So taking a look at things. So Mercury being in Sagittarius, again, Sagittarius is the planet that rules higher education, philosophy, politics, religion, like your belief systems. Well, like law enforcement, politics, government. Government is in the ninth house, and typically, the other planet that governs politics and philosophy and inventions is Uranus. So, what can I say about this Sagittarius energy? So with Mercury being in Sagittarius, it's really inviting us to revisit our philosophies, revisit courses that we signed up to take, being more focused. If we're already pursuing education, being more focused on our education, taking a look at our belief systems. Are our belief systems working for us? Are we feeling safe in our beliefs? Are we feeling safe in our philosophies, that the philosophies that we subscribe to? And also revisiting the story of who we are and what we stand for. So that's literally what this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is calling us to do. So what can we expect? We can expect technology glitches, like we just had one on this live. We can expect we can also expect miscommunications, flight delays, a lot of flight cancellations when traveling. I tell people, if you feel something or you're in your feelings about something, now is not a good time to confront people. Like, now is a good time to just think about it and sit on it. And if you still feel the same way after the post period, so that's another thing we'll talk about next. The pre-period and the post-period of Mercury retrograde. But if you are still in your feelings at the end of Mercury retrograde, then go ahead and address it. But 9 times out of 10, it won't turn into an argument because you've had time to think about it and reflect. So getting in your feelings or getting in a mood and during a Mercury retrograde and deciding, hey, I'm going to get this off my chest now. Not a good idea. Not a great idea at all. Not really what you want to do with your life. So,
don't let the holidays tempt you, people, to confront people during this retrograde.
No, I've been telling people honestly to wait until like 10 to 15 days. So so Mercury is going direct on November 29th, then the post period is 10 to 15 days after that. Hey, those of you who are joining, hi, thank you, welcome. So you just want to so again, that leaves us at like December 10th, December 15th, that we'll still be feeling that Mercury retrograde energy. So you definitely don't want to do anything major. Like, you just want to chill. And again, let's talk about some of the things that are going on in the world with the government shutdown. The stop in benefits, right? Mm-hmm. All happening during Mercury retrograde, or the pre-Mercury retrograde period. So Mercury retrograde pre-period started around like the middle of October. The middle towards the end of October. Mm-hmm. So let's say maybe October 20th until, November 8th was the pre-period. So think about all the things that were going on around that time. And then recently, I think as of, I want to say last week or earlier this week, they had all these flights getting canceled.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because there's not enough people with the government shutdown to be working at the airports. Not enough air traffic controllers. You get what I'm saying? So it's definitely it's all related to these planets. And the stuff going on with the government is tied to Uranus. And Uranus being in retrograde since, and again, every retrograde, guys, has a pre-period and a post-period. So planets don't just stop right away. They're just like us. You know how when we're like, okay, we're going to sleep, and then sometimes we're like,
yeah.
That's how planets work. That's how they work. So, and then when it's time to get up, how we up there hitting our alarm clock, like, okay, give me just 5 more minutes. Just give me 10 more minutes. And then I'm gonna get up. It's the same thing when a planet is waking up to, going, like, getting back in motion. It's not like it's just like, oh, let's get back in motion right now. We gotta get this motion. It's not like that at all.
They need to warm up and cool down.
Exactly. And so Uranus is the planet of rebellion. Uranus is the planet of, like, revolution, inventions, science, humanitarianism, individualism, eccentricity. I think I'm saying that right. Eccentricity. So again, and then again, when you think about Uranus and you also think about Jupiter, they both have to do, have that government politics thing going on for both of the planets. So when with Uranus being in retrograde, it's like rebellion is not being regulated. Revolution is not being regulated. Individuality is not being regulated. When the planets are asleep, what they govern is not being policed. So that allows those things to kind of go awry. So that's why technology gets wonky when Mercury goes to sleep. And I tell people, make sure your stuff is backed up. Like if you have a computer, make sure that you got some kind of backup going on. You got your stuff backed up in the cloud or something, even on your phone, because this is the time where your phone could drop, or your, something can happen to your phone, something can happen to your computer, or, something crashes. So you just have to really, really be careful. Is there anything else? Oh, yes. So Mercury is retrograde right now in Sagittarius. But I believe there's a shift before the end of the retrograde. Let me just look at my chart. I think that before the end of the retrograde period, Mercury is going to be going over into Capricorn. So right now we're in Sagittarius, but when it shifts towards Capricorn, it gets, the Mercury energy gets more practical. So then it goes kind of towards focus on your public image and your work identity and your worldly reputation. But again, these are things that you should be focused on inwardly. Not external. So whenever a Mercury retrograde happens, it's like the universe's way of inviting us to go within and deal with things. So what would I ask people to do most importantly during this retrograde? It would be to think about what belief have you been broadcasting that no longer feels aligned with, like you no longer feel aligned with, that no longer aligns with who you are today. Like, what belief have you been broadcasting that no longer feels aligned with who you are right now? So in taking all of this that I've talked about, the practical part of it would be checking and reviewing messages that you've sent out the past 3 to 6 months. And then also taking an inward look at what belief have you been broadcasting that no longer feels that you no longer feel aligned with. And I would say for the Jupiter retrograde, because again, Jupiter being the planet of luck and expansion and growth, abundance, higher learning, travel, religion. It's one of those things where sometimes when Jupiter is retrograde, our luck increases because there's nothing governing luck and abundance. So it's just like a free for all. And nothing is governing our learning. So a lot of people may feel like, oh, I need to travel. Oh, I need to learn. But the thing that's going to stop the travel is the Mercury retrograde.
So they kind of contradict each other.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Mercury being retrograde in Sagittarius, Jupiter being retrograde in Cancer, and then Jupiter is the ruling planet for Sagittarius, which is now retrograde in Mercury. So yeah, Jupiter is getting, our Jupiter is getting hit, our Jupiter energy is getting hit kind of twice. So with Jupiter being retrograde in Cancer, some of the things that will come up real quick is emotional expansion, inner abundance, home, your roots, because Cancer rules the 4th house. So this retrograde in Jupiter being in Cancer means reflecting on how we expand, what we've grown towards, and whether our growth is aligned with a deeper truth, our deeper truth. So Cancer, of course, rules the 4th house, and there's a focus on emotional security, home, family, belonging, inner nurturing and outward nurturing. So with Jupiter being retrograde in Cancer, it's like a green light, basically, to ask yourself, where am I still playing small emotionally because I believe I don't deserve bigger? And then where is my expansion? Where's my expansion hiding behind the mask of inner scarcity? So those are two things that you can also journal about, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to this Jupiter being retrograde in Cancer.
So don't look for because the Mercury is like you said, contradicts. So don't look for the abundance outwards. Look for the abundance inwards.
Yes. Inwards. Now some people, let me tell you this. Because I find this weird, and I might be the only astrologer that says this, but it's been the truth that I can see. If you, and this is just across the board, and I'll give some examples. If you feel like your luck has been poop this year when Jupiter was direct, there's a possibility with Jupiter being retrograde that your luck is going to become more abundant. Like things will just start moving and happening. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then if your luck has been really great all year and then Jupiter goes retrograde, your luck may stop during the Jupiter retrograde. And it's the same thing. I've seen it with Venus retrogrades. I've seen couples that argue all the time, that don't get along, that have a toxic relationship, and then Venus goes retrograde and they are good for that Venus retrograde. And then I've seen couples that don't argue at all, don't have no disagreements, and then Venus goes retrograde and they argue throughout the whole retrograde, might even try to break up. It's just weird.
Wow.
Same thing with Mercury. No, Mercury just bad communication for everybody. But I've heard some people say, well, my life is good doing Mercury retrograde, but when Mercury's not retrograde, my life ain't good. Or especially like people with a lot of Gemini and Virgo in their chart. Sometimes people who have Virgo and Gemini in their charts doing a Mercury retrograde, they have a lot of energy, they get stuff done. But then on the flip side, I know some Mercury ruled people, some Virgos, some Capricorns that have said like, hey, I don't, this ain't really working for me. Life ain't life right now. So I think it depends on the person and their chart. So I don't want to say it's unpredictable, yeah, but it kind of is unpredictable.
You scared a lot of people. They might be like, oh, well, may gave hope to some people, but you might have added some fear to other people.
I don't want to add fear to anybody. I want people to be cautious during this time. I want you to, be smart during Mercury retrograde, guys. Like, don't do dumb stuff. Like, I don't think you should drink and drive or drive when you're high at all. But if you do, now is not a good time to do it. Yeah. Okay? Speeding. Watch your speed limit. There are things that can be avoided. If you don't have to travel, don't travel. Doing a Mercury retrograde. Now, if you have to travel, like say your job is to travel, like you drive trucks, or you're an IT consultant, and you have to get on a plane every week or every other week. I understand that you have no control over that if your job is to travel. Like if you're a pilot and you got to fly every week, or you're a conductor and you got to drive a train, you just going to have to do it. But I tell people, be smart, like work smarter, not harder. Be smart. Make sure your equipment is working. Make sure your inspections are done properly. Don't do nothing at the last minute. If you got a flight or something to catch, you need to leave at a decent hour and a decent time. Like, now is not the time to be leaving stuff to chance and doing stuff at the last minute. That's not it. No. So not to scare people, but just to make them aware. This is, to me, retrogrades. People say, well, a lot of people will say, well, I don't believe in evil, so it ain't real. Huh? Well, I don't believe in that stuff. That, astrology is witchcraft. Huh? I'd be like, astrology is a pseudoscience and astronomy is an actual science. Mm-hmm. So astrology is a pseudoscience based off of astronomy. How can it not be real? Somebody studied the planets. Yeah. Somebody studied how many moons Jupiter has. Somebody studied these things. The only reason why we got maps is because somebody studied the stars and the planets. Yep. And the constellations. Otherwise, we would have no directions. So I tell people, like, billionaires use planetary energy, use their birth charts, use the transits in astrology to predict even when to make moves, money moves, business moves, investment moves. That's why they got their money. Yep. They tell you not to believe in stuff, but they be doing it. But they be doing it. Exactly. I know big corporations right now that pay astrologers to come and give them predictions so that they can invest their money in wisely. Like, I know astrologers that go do that for companies. So, yeah. I mean, I hope to be one of them one day. Since we put stuff out there, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Shoot. I mean, if I would have known, like, I used to be a baby astrologer, like when I was growing up, learning when my mom gave me my first astrology book. But if I would have, the stuff I know now about astrology and the stuff that I have used in my own life and I'm still using in my own life, if I would have known this stuff at a younger age, I would have made different life decisions. Mm. Like, I would have made different life decisions. So I just encourage people, like, I've never been wrong. I remember Adam had a class one time, and I started talking about Mercury retrograde, and this girl on, in the class argued me down, like, oh, you're fear mongering, and I already signed my lease, and I just signed my lease, and yada yada yada. And I was like, okay, girl, good for you. Child, later on, maybe some months later, Adam came back and told me, yeah, it went bad for her, like the apartment signing and stuff like that. And I said to myself, well, she sat up in that class and argued me down in front of everybody. And again, I was just trying to get a heads up. Read your contract before you sign it. Like, if you don't have to sign it right now, wait. Like, if it's not like a life and death situation, then it can be put on hold. Yeah. If it's one of those situations where it's like, oh, if I don't sign it now, I'm going to lose the house that I was trying to get. Oh, well, that house, sometimes divine protection comes with things that we don't want. Yeah. We don't want to leave that house behind. We don't want to do this, but then we get ourselves into something. Like, later on, Adam came back and literally told me, yeah, that apartment that she had signed up for, whatever, it did not work out in her favor, and it was a mess. It turned into a mess. Yeah. And I can use myself as an example. I got some work done on my house. I signed the paperwork to get some work done on my house, and I didn't read it well enough. And it was during a Mercury retrograde, and I'll never forget. I ended up stuck paying for a repair I got done on my house, and I signed the paperwork, and I didn't realize it was for like 10 years. Oh. So I was stuck in a loan for 10 years. I'm still paying on the loan. And it's because I didn't read the fine print. I let the person, talk. And then they gave me some paperwork, and I didn't read the fine print, and I signed it. And next thing you know, I was stuck in a situation. So I tell people, anything that's like a big decision, that's like a big money, like it'll require money from you, don't do it during the Mercury retrograde. Don't do it. Don't do it. Unless it's an emergency. Like if a pipe busted your house, like I had a pipe bust in my house during a Mercury retrograde earlier this year. I had to take care of it because if I didn't, my water bill was going to keep going up. Yeah. So if it's something urgent that you have to take care of, yes. If it's something that you had planned and booked way before the Mercury retrograde, okay, cool. But I look at the Mercury retrograde periods every year, and I try to make sure, unless I got something as a priestess, like that I absolutely have to attend, I make sure I ain't going nowhere. And especially now with this administration being in office and all these planes been falling out of the sky, this is like, I'm not saying that we haven't had plane crashes in the past, but this year, since January until now, traveling by planes has been the worst.
It's not even passenger planes. It's planes carrying supplies, packages. It's just
all the planes, the ones carrying people, the ones carrying cargo. Yeah, it's all of them. But again, the government is, people are getting fired, people are getting laid off. We're having shutdowns. People aren't getting paid properly. People aren't getting proper rest, proper sleep. I'm not getting on a plane. I'm gonna tell people, if I can't get there by a car, I ain't going right now.
Did you see the video? I don't know the full story, but this woman I think it was a woman was driving a train and she fell asleep while driving it. And I don't know if she hit something or she might have hit something, but yeah.
I'm not surprised. Am I surprised? No. I'm not surprised at all.
Like you said, people, I don't want to, because I don't know the whole story, because, people, with things going, you don't know, people forced to work a double shift. Because with everything, with stuff that's going on, like, people are working harder. If everybody get laid off and stuff, that means more workload as people. So, but yeah, like you said, people are tired. Like, these people are driving and flying this stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's a lot. It's really a lot to think about, and I feel like people need to really take this stuff more seriously. But for those of us who know, ignorance is not bliss. For those of us who know, when you know better, you do better. Or at
and
least you should.
I also wonder when you say like, a lot of people do use astrologers. I wonder if like sometimes with politics they plan things around certain type of years that they know that will cause chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like COVID was I feel like COVID was definitely what's the word? Planned, for lack of a better word.
Like they plan the
Orchestrated.
chaos.
Yeah, orchestrated.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like it was absolutely orchestrated. On the dead homies, as they would say.
Hmm.
And I feel like there'll be more. Like I feel like we're not done. It's always gonna be something.
Yeah.
But all right, I think that's all I have for these retrogrades. I feel like I didn't take a deep dive into Uranus and Sagittarius. Uranus, the fact that it's retrograde in Gemini is just a little scary.
Mm.
Only because like the themes of that, like the key themes for Uranus retrograde in Gemini is really about mental freedom and narrative overhaul and having awakenings. Um so Gemini is of course like ruled by Mercury. So Gemini is it's real logical energy. It's mental energy, it's communicative energy. It's very network oriented, like how we think, how we speak, how we connect, how we share information. And so with it transiting in Uranus, it kind of invites us to like release stories and belief systems that we've outgrown and experiment with like new ways of thinking.
Mm.
Um so it's really asking us, are we ready to unlearn what we thought we knew? Which makes sense, especially what's going on in my life. Totally makes sense. But it's
A lot
like
of people are questioning a lot of things right now.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Including me.
Right. And it's really about like taking one thing, like picking one thing that like a long held belief that you've had, right? Or assumption that you've made about yourself or your life. And then ask yourself, does this still serve my evolution? Or is it time to let go? And that's like literally a journal prompt. Janae Aiko did a meditation. She's like, she does the crystal bowls, like sound baths like I do. And she did a one that says, I am not afraid. And she released that earlier this year. And that's been playing on my head over and over and over again. Because again, with this Uranus retrograde, it's really asking, are you ready to unlearn what you thought you knew? And then also, what is a long held belief? What is something that I've believed or an assumption I've made about myself or my life? And then ask, does it still serve my evolution, or is it time to let it go? And that's the big thing about Uranus being in retrograde, because Uranus is that planet of disruption, paradigm shifts, revolution, rebellion, humanitarianism, like I said before. it triggers wars. Uranus is the planet that triggers wars. And then when Uranus and Mars are retrograde together, like we had last year between like November, December, and January, life was scary.
Yeah.
Because again, the election and then the inauguration and all that stuff that happened in January, and that dang on helicopter running into that plane, killing all them people in the DMV area.
Yeah.
All those things happened during a Uranus and a Mars retrograde. And we had a Mercury retrograde during that time too. So it's, when people say, well, this isn't real life. Yes, it is. And these planets are, God only knows how long these planets have been around.
Yeah.
And God only knows, they're orbiting, and God only knows how they affect planet Earth. Planet Earth does not go retrograde.
So we're one of the few planets that don't.
No.
We're impacted by it, but we don't create any.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
I think people also forget, like you said, like how we got direction and stuff, that we were governed by nature. Like everything now is 24 hours, but before, like, we wouldn't be up doing stuff like this when the sun went down. Like we garden based upon the seasons. We based upon the storms, like the moon. People measure the moon and how it pulls the ocean. Like, yeah, people study these things because it is a pattern. It's pattern recognition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So with Uranus, just to in that, yeah, our president is a Gemini. Uranus is retrograde in Gemini, so let's be prepared. Let's just be prepared for all the shenanigans.
And you said it till about December 15th.
No, Uranus is actually retrograde in Gemini until January 27th of 2026. Oh, okay. Mercury, at least we don't have to worry about Mercury if we're traveling towards, Christmas and New Year's. So the government shutdown just ended. So we got to give people some time to get their finances and their food and get everything back, in good standing. And then I would say, if you're going to travel towards the end of December.
Yeah.
Like if you flying commercial, travel towards the end of December. If you flying private, well, you might not have nothing to worry about. I don't know. I don't know. It's not like private jets and helicopters don't go down either. Yeah. God bless the dead. A lot of people have passed away on those too. Yeah. So, but because the pilots that fly the private jets and stuff, I don't think that they are government employees. I don't think the pilots that fly private planes for private companies are government officials. Now the people who guide them, what's the people
like traffic control and stuff.
Traffic controllers, yeah. They're all government. You know what I'm saying? So there still might be issues with I saw in the news where they were saying planes are flying too close in the sky to each other now. Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
And then people just sitting on runways for hours waiting to take off. And they, having issues with landings. And people, flying off flying too close to each other in the sky. So all of that's controlled not just by the pilot, but also air traffic control. Yeah. So if the air traffic controller person is going to sleep, then who's controlling the traffic in the sky?
Right, yeah.
Who's helping the pilots land the planes or getting the planes into the airport? So it's definitely a scary time to be flying, guys. I would take a beat on that if I could.
Yeah.
But all right, I am done. I have talked for an hour, and that was not our intention, but
You gave some good information.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I did a lot that I think that we should know, not just for this current retrograde, but at least for the next couple of months.
Oh
What
yeah,
to expect.
yeah. We're closing out. We are closing out the year, and maybe we can have another live like towards the beginning of the year, and we can talk about some of the planets that are going retrograde at the beginning of 2026.
Yeah.
We will still be in a Uranus and a Jupiter retrograde at the beginning of 2026. But then we can still talk about the other planetary retrogrades that we will see in like the first 6 months of 2026 and what that means for us.
Yeah.
The retrograde that I hate the worst is Venus. So Venus went retrograde this year, y'all. So we won't see another Venus retrograde for 18 months. Praise God. 18 months from, I want to say, April or May of this year. So our last Venus retrograde was during the springtime of this year. So we probably won't see another Venus retrograde. Mm-hmm. Venus retrogrades only happen every 18 months. So we shouldn't have one until maybe the end of 2026. Somewhere in there.
Well, that's good. Give us a little break.
Right. I mean, Venus is the one I don't like the most because, again, like if you in love or you love, Venus retrogrades suck because that's when every Venus retrograde I know, like if your partner is cheating or your partner is doing something crazy, that's when they come out. Or people start going no contact and stuff like that.
Well, maybe that's a good thing when things are exposed.
Well, yeah, but no. I mean, it's a lot of breakups. Even for non-cheating stuff, there's a lot of breakups and arguments that happen during Venus retrograde. It's crazy. I mean, it's good for me as a reader because I get money. Because people be calling me.
Yeah.
But other than that, it ain't good for nobody personally.
We will have an interesting time doing readings that time of year.
I mean, I'm already having interesting times now, even in this Mercury retrograde. You know, sometimes you got to tell people stuff you don't want to tell them. It's not nice, but yeah.
Yeah. But sit on it, like you said.
Say what?
You said maybe we got to sit on it a little bit. You said we got to sit on it a little bit.
Yeah, basically. Well, all right.
Well, is there any anything else you want to share before we end the live?
Yeah. So guys, check me out. I'm Leah the Sunstar. Follow me on Instagram at Leah_the_Sunstar, and Leah is LIA, not LEAH, not that Leah. It's LIA. And you can also follow me on YouTube at Leah the Sunstar. It's just Leah the Sunstar all together. And then on TikTok is Leah the Sunstar all together, no underscores. And definitely apply to Love in the Stars, guys. I am one of the matchmakers for Love in the Stars, and I'll be using astrology and my psychic intuitive gifts to match those of you all who sign up for the show and who are chosen as cast for the show. So along with my castmate who is not here tonight, which is Prophet BK, but we will be back next week, April.
Yes, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We will talk about, back on the topic of love, but how to handle loved ones during the holidays, whether you're by yourself or with other people, because the holidays can be depressing for a lot of people. So this is our way to kind of like navigate through loved ones and loneliness. And also follow us on our link tree, Love in the Stars TV, or email us at loveandthestarshow@gmail.com. If you're interested in being part of our project, are you ready to find love? As you can see, Leah's very knowledgeable. She knows what she's talking about, and she'll be one of the people that will guide you in finding the type of partnership that you want and desire, and that's also compatible with you, because sometimes we think we know what we want. or what's right with us. And it's good to have people to kind of show us a different perspective of what we can't see and what we're missing when trying to find love or to establish a partnership with people. We have our blind spots when it comes to love. But thank y'all for joining us. We'll be back next week. Follow us on all the social, Leah the Sun Star, Love the Stars TV. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, Leah.